Good morning, everyone. Can you just confirm that you can hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that would be, let's get the basics down. You can see me too, right?
Yeah,
Okay, thank you. Mabel, right?
yeah.
And Kit. Thank you guys for responding early, by the way. That was helpful. Yeah, we'll start in a couple minutes. If you have a moment, if you could do the poll, I put inside the chat window. If I don't know what you can see right now, but there is a way to make a chat option visible. And if there is a clickable link there to a poll of with a map of the world. So just if you go there and just click on where you are, we can end the session with a little look at where we are. I already put myself in. So in the chat window, you should be able to find a link to an external site, which is a poll, and you can click on there on the map to show where you are. Super, thank you. Okay, I'm going to start now, although people are probably going to be coming in, but I'll start because we have a lot to get through today. Do let me know if there's any problem with the audio or so. Right now, I'm assuming everyone can hear me. Okay, so a couple things just to start. First is welcome. It's great to be here. Like I said, I've never done an asynchronous online course before. So for me, this is really new and kind of exciting and actually just a little bit scary. So, we'll all see how it goes. Um, yeah. Again, with these video lectures, course is listed as asynchronous, which means that attendance in these video lectures is not mandatory. This is being recorded, and I'll post the recording later on Canvas. So if you miss a lecture, you can always go back and view it. That's mandatory. You have to view the lectures, but you don't actually have to attend. So why should you? Particularly since I recognize if you're in Asia in particular, this is really late. Well, one thing is that there will be extra credit tied to this. I'm going to do a class participation bonus at the end of the semester. So if you've come to the lecture and you participate in the discussions, then you are eligible for a little boost at the end to the percentage grade. So somewhere between 0 if there's nothing, but 4%, which should be a maximum, will be added to your final grade as a extra credit bonus for your attendance and participation in these lectures. Also, frankly, I think it's just going to be a lot of help because we're going to talk about the text, and it'll also help customize you to the American classroom and particularly the CMSV classroom. And also, you know, it can be fun. I think it's fun. So that's that. Again, not compulsory, but a good idea. All right, so that's one thing. And now about the syllabus, which is projected on the screen right now. Again, this is going to change. Actually, there's already a change. I realized I did not leave. I left last semester's office hours on it, so it will change over the course of the semester, and the updated one will always be on Canvas. Okay. Um, you do need to use this to keep yourself on track. So, actually, let me ask: are there any questions just starting off immediately? Anything? Okay. Let me know if there are. Um, right. So a couple of things to say, and there's a question. Books, right? Not this. The next page on this one. Oh no, this is the first page. There are the two required textbooks on here: the Diana Hacker Rules for Writers, and then also the Literature Short Anthology. I forgot to get them. Um, so those were both required. Let me just ask, who has them yet? Do you have the books? Excellent. Okay. Some people do, but most people don't. So here's the deal. There's the two of them are quite different. The first one is the Hacker, I think. Yeah, the first list is the Hacker. This is basically a kind of grammar handbook, um, covering first mechanics of college grammar, but then also a lot of stuff like citation and American sort of the standards for formatting an American essay, American college essay, and like a lot of the way arguments work, etc. It's an incredibly useful book. I mean, it's not exciting reading, but it's incredibly useful as a reference book. I really, really urge you to get this. We'll be referring to it periodically through the semester, so that's quite helpful. You'll also use it in the second semester course of this. If you continue on to writing context 2, which is more focused on the research paper, the Hacker thing is just vital. It's important this semester, but it's just vital next semester when we really do a lot of citation and research, use of research. So I really urge you to get it. Electronic version is perfectly good. Okay, actually, and leasing habit. So that's a good start. The anthology also you'll use next semester, and it's obviously helpful. It's particularly key right now because we have first reading from that anthology is next week. If you cannot get the anthology in time for next week, just email me, let me know. Okay, don't fall behind on this. Okay, so the first reading on the syllabus, and we could flip forward if we wanted to, is for next week is the what do you call Tony K. Bambara. So here we go. If we take a look at the syllabus, you'll see week 2, reading Tony K. Bambara, the lesson. So that's a short story, and you'll notice there's page numbers there. That's because that reading is in that literature anthology. So again, if you don't have it yet, please, 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 please email me. Let me know. I'll get a copy to you because I don't want you to fall behind. Okay, questions on that? Very good. So I put up a little video talking through the syllabus and particularly stuff about this page here, which I'm projecting about the course goals, which is actually quite important. And then the grade weights, all right, which is also quite important. Just to tie that for a moment, let me zoom in on this, right? Just to make a point about this, right? Make this make sense. So here are the grade weights, the 3 essays, 3 analytical essays, and this second tier, this second concurrent running stream of essays, the Brownian analysis. So there's 2 different types of essays, and I talk about that extensively in the video. But the other one is the classwork. The essays themselves, the formal written essays, are only 50%. So this business with the short reaction pieces, class participation already said is a bonus. quizzes, classwork, those really constitute like 40% of the grade. So really be careful to keep up. Like right now, for instance, and some of you have already done this, thank you. But right now on Canvas, there are several assignments. There's, let me see. I wrote them down somewhere. There's the discussion piece on Ice Age. That's graded, right? So you want to put some, and at least two people already have. Jacob did, and I think Kit did. I forget. But you guys you want to watch the clip and put a discussion reaction on that. That's graded. There's the reaction piece A on Halkett, which again, at least two people have already done. And then there's a couple of ungraded things, which are also actually kind of important. There's the goals and the self-introduction and the survey for the class time, right? So keeping up on the list of assignments on Canvas, that goes directly into the class participation, not the class participation, but the short reaction pieces, the quizzes, classwork, grade weight on the syllabus. So please keep up, okay? Any questions about that? Can somebody just say no, because otherwise I feel like I'm talking to myself.
No.
Thank you, Kit. This is weird. Like after I've been teaching for like 30 years, and usually you see people, so you could stare them in their face. I'm gonna make you all put your cameras on, by the way, but not today. Usually you could like stare people in the face and you know if they're listening, but like now, like in my head, everyone's watching kitten videos, which is why I have to use the video or the. All right, so where are we? Okay, so back to the syllabus. Just so to be really clear on this point, right, so I want to make sure that we know what we're doing. So this is the next page, right? This is the first page with the scheduled readings. So again, there's a discussion of this. I did a little video, a discussion of this. But for week 2, right? If you look at week 2 here, 9:14 and 9:18. So the top one, lecture topics, is just all the things we're going to do that week in lecture probably, but also out of lecture. So we're going to talk about the lesson. We're going to talk about how lesson relates to Halkett. We're going to do in-text citations. There's another reading Haltman that we're going to do. Thinking about details, why cite sources, summarizing your words, and then assign the 2 essays. So these are all things that we're going to talk about during class. The reading then is what you need to do ahead of time. And basically the whole week is going to rely on you having done this reading. So do come prepared. In other words, it's before you do any of the stuff on Canvas and before we talk, it'll help so much to have done that reading. So the reading Tony K. Bombara, the lesson, which is in the book, and Kenneth Haltman reading, which I'll give you in a handout. Okay, there's pages from Hacker here too. We won't talk about them in class, but they do support the things I'm talking about in class and the assignments on Canvas. So having that Hacker page is really there to give you something to refer to support the material. Okay, any questions about that, about reading, about the assignments, et cetera, et cetera? Anything?
No.
Thank you, kid. All right, let me see. Where are we? Okay, so introduce myself. My name is Stephen Nardi. And if you hadn't, by the way, so if you haven't done it yet, I put a link to public chat. I put a link in the chat to a map, right? And if you go to that, in between your kitten videos, if you go over to that map and click on it, you can put where you are in the world, just out of curiosity. So everyone saw that link, which is in the public chat. Okay, let me see. So I talked to you. So I said a few words about the video lectures, and I said that they're not required, but that they're work for extra credit. The thing is, we have to do almost the first thing is decide what day to do them on, um, because of the time zone. We're kind of restricted to the morning is the only really thing that works. So try to do them early morning. Unfortunately, I can't do them any earlier than 9:30. It'd probably better do 8:30, but I can't. So we're somewhat limited on that. So I sent out a poll, and a few people, thank you very much, responded. But then I realized I'm not sure that Wednesday works for me. And of course, Wednesday was the day most people wanted to do it. So I have to double check that. It seems like right now Wednesday is the most popular day, but it might not be possible. First place, I'm curious why Wednesday. Why I actually thought that Tuesday, doing it the lecture early in the week, was going to be better. I was a little surprised that people picked Wednesday. Any sense of why Wednesday was better? Why you picked Wednesday over Tuesday? And it was almost universal, so I figured that it was that the preference was for the later in the week rather than the earlier in the week. Anybody want to say why later in the week seemed better for the video lecture?
Because I saw uh the Tuesday and you put the date you put the time is 10 o'clock.
Mm.
I remember. And but 10 o'clock for some of us we have principles of management the class. So
So
the
there's a
time will be
conflicting.
covered. Yeah, so yeah.
Okay. All right. So how about Wednesday? Was that so? There was no conflict on Wednesday. Did anyone else? Let me ask. Let me be honest, because I kind of like now. I'm like I don't know about Wednesday. Let me do another poll. Javier, I initially wanted most of my classes in one day, but the times overlap. Yeah, so Wednesday is better. So how about Thursday? I'm gonna do another poll. Wednesday might be possible for me to free up, but I have to admit it is kind of a pain in the ass. So can you do another poll? If Thursday, there's Tuesday and Thursday on that one, and just tell me if Thursday is possible. Yeah, Javier. Honestly, I don't think you're gonna get one day. I've tried it and it doesn't. Also, to be honest, your brain freezes after a while, and everything is kind of like one big mochi cake of goop. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Javier. Okay. So there's two polls on there, and if you respond by the end of class, we can take a look. There's one on where you are, which I'm very curious, and then there's one on relocating the time. Now that I think about it, actually, with asynchronous courses, actually the morning is also probably going to be packed because everybody's going to do it in the morning because of the time zone. All right, so let's keep going. Maple as well. Okay, so what is next? We get the haircut. I lost my place. Introduce myself, video lecture. Okay, so theme, right? You can tell on here there's this theme thing, the secret life of things. And so what's going on with that? And I think it emerges if you read the How Cut, which is all about things. And I think it also the responses you guys, two people gave excellent responses on the ISA video, and they really nailed it. Is if you've seen that video, it's just all about want, right? Scrap, this little squirrel, is obsessed with this acorn, having the acorn. And initially, he doesn't even want to do anything. He just wants to stick it in the ground. Actually, my 9-year-old daughter pointed out at the end that he actually tries to eat it, and that way he gets squished. But the object, right, is that need, lust, desire for this object. So that is the course theme. We're going to look throughout the semester. We're going to be focused on this idea of thing. Javier, see the typing. You can type in the chat. You guys also though can talk, and I'm gonna act I talk too much. So the more you talk, the better it is. Yeah. Yeah, Kit made a great point and tied it to the essay nicely. Kit's point was that it's all about sort of the grind, right? The lower classes grind for desire for things, right? Right. Who else responded? Jacob, right? Is Jacob here? No, Jacob also responded, and he tied it to social status as well in a really good way. If we have a chance, we'll look at those comments. And please do on the discussion board. Again, that's required. So you gotta say something about Ice Age. But you can also reply to each other's comments, which is a really great thing. So Javier, if you wanted to just go back to Kit's comment and say like, yeah, this is a great point. This is what I think you're saying. That would be very helpful. So the theme. So what this means that we have a theme is that we have one thread of thought running. Thank you, Javier. We have one thread of thought running through all the readings. Okay. So for instance, the lesson is very much about things. And when you read that short story, Tony K. Bambar's The Lesson's a short story, the reading for next week, you'll see, right? It's all about kids who are poor and they're taken to a toy store where there's these incredible, amazing, incredibly expensive things. And it forces them to think about what their relationship, what things really mean. So the theme is a way to philosophically tie all our readings together. And the Howcut is a good example. Howcut is specifically thinking of what things mean in social relationships. And we'll read other essays which do similar things. Think about the role of things in culture. All right, this is a writing class. So in a sense, the theme is kind of candy and cake. In other words, is that this class, the grades are all focused on writing. The learning objectives are all about, you will learn the conventions of the American college essay, the weirdnesses and conventions of American college essay. So what I want you to get out of this class has really nothing to do with things in that sense. So just to be, Kit, did you jump in? So the theme is there for convenience. I think it's more interesting if we have one filter to look at all these texts. Okay. Kit just lost his connection for a moment. I think it's better to have, if we have a single view onto these texts, it makes it easier to talk about them. It makes it easier to relate to them. So the theme is that it's a philosophical framework to hold these texts together and give us some way to relate them together. There's no tests on it, right? There's no tests on this. What is the secret life? There's no quiz. It is the convenience. And again, the grading and learning objectives are all about the writing. Particularly, the core writing assignment in an American college course is the persuasive essay, which is a weird genre. And it's one that I talk about this on that video with the syllabus, it's one that we will spend a lot of time focused on. Not exclusively, but this idea that an essay is an advancement of one point of view, a seemingly unique point of view, backed up with evidence, right? That's the kind of essays that colleges most frequently ask for, and that's the kind of essay that will at the heart of this course is about advancing your ability to write one. So the theme is there for fun. And I think it is a lot of fun. I think Howcut is great. It's a great book. It's really interesting. It's a great book. I forgot I was going to bring it down to show you guys. Maybe I will anyway. Okay, so that's the theme. Let me check my time. So I'm going to keep this to about a 15-minute talk, which is about a length of the CMSB class. Of course, I didn't take roll today. Usually, well, in the future I will. I also want to do introductions, but today actually I feel a little rushed. So next time. Yeah. What is it? What do you think it means, by the way? Secret life of things. What do you think that means? I deliberately picked a kind of spooky, fun title. What does it mean to you? What do you think I'm trying to get at with that? Secret life of things. Anyone want to take a shot at it? What that might mean? I mean, it's meant to be kind of silly, right? Things don't have lives. Thoughts about what that might mean? I see typing. Tell you what, you guys think I'm gonna get the board. Yeah, I feel like it means that little things that we overlook in our daily life, have a decrying meaning and value, defining meaning and value, probably. Yeah, right. It's, in other words, we're surrounded by all sorts of things, right? Small details that actually play a powerful role in defining us, right? Yeah, I mean, that's Halcutt's, that's the heart of Halcutt's argument. But I think it is intuitively underlined, as intuitively makes sense, right? If you just think away about the way you walk around all day, how important the things you surround you are into really understanding who you are, right? Yeah, don't worry. Just like about typos, I make so many, so just like, look charitably on the typo. But like the point is Javier's point is just bang on, right? Is this sense is that you think things are inert, how they're not alive, and yet we attribute to them, our relation to them is as if we are relating to sort of living creatures, mostly because we relate them to as if they were us, you know. Yeah. Other thoughts about the secret life, this things. It's secret, for instance. That's life. I mean, how about secret? Why secret might or might not be a good word for the theme? I'm clearly trying to get at something with that, right? I mean, secret. Jacob came in. I was just talking about your response to Ice Age. Yeah, Kit. Right. I think secret just means we're doing it unconsciously, right? And I think that's exactly right. Is that we relate to things, our full relationship to things. And again, this is in Halkut. Our full relationship to things is extremely complex. When we buy an object, we buy a coffee cup, right? You make a decision on a coffee cup without much thought about it, or maybe a good deal of thought about it. But the full meaning of that object, perhaps is mainly unconscious, right? Why my coffee cups, or frankly, my wife bought these. These sort of very classic form, right? This is actually really. If I turned it over, my coffee would spill out. But very discreetly on the bottom of the coffee cup is the manufacturer, who, frankly, I don't know these things, but my wife does. Is apparently a big deal. But the shape of it I recognize is very elegant. The size of it's very small, especially in the U.S., where people tend to drink big mugs of coffee. Our coffee cups are very delicate. The material clean. All those things that make up into this thing, into this object. All the unconscious ways it hooks into us. Yeah, the secret, right? That we don't fully understand our relationship to them. Yeah. Other thoughts about the theme? Let's take a look at the Hauka. And particularly, I wanted to talk about what her argument is, because it's going to come back on the first analytical essay. So, some of small things, right? And as I said, this is a photocopy from a book. Here's the book. So I've given you I think I gave you now. I can't remember. There's the title page, the Library of Congress, and we'll come back to this material later. And then the text, right? So let's just take a look at the text. What do you mean? What do you think this, she's getting at here, right? She begins with, she begins talking about nail polish, right? And talking about different colors of nail polish. And then I boxed off this quotation. So let's just take a look at it. I'm going to read it. So ballet slippers and its sheer sisters. In other words, this particular nail polish is a very thin, very, very subtle coloration, right? It's not at all, bright, etc. It's very, very subtle. It's easy to overlook, right? Ballet slippers and its sheer sisters have reigned supreme as the de rigueur nail polish colors for a particular group of women within Beverly Hills. And de rigueur means required, really. It's a fancy word. Within Beverly Hills, New York's Upper East Side, and London's Kensington. These are three major neighborhoods in Los Angeles, New York, and London, which are very, very tony and expensive and high status. Given the cult following by this aesthetically conscious elite group of women and the Queen of England, no less, surely there must be something special about ballet slippers. Iridescent sparkles, unique mineral composition, or some attribute that would make its cult following so obvious. Yet, once applied, the color hardly screams, "Notice me," or "I've just had a manicure." One coat leaves nails a light blush. Two coats create an opaque white with hints of pink. Rather, this delicate color, almost childlike, merely signals subtly that a woman grooms herself. Yet, what is Palkat getting at here? I mean, in other words, she's describing, what does she want us to notice about the way this nail polish is consumed? Right? Just take a minute, look at that, and let's think about what is she trying to say about this nail polish, how it's consumed, and what's surprising about how it's consumed? Of 20 minutes. How about it? What do you think she's trying to say? Like, what's surprising about ballet slippers? Jacob's typing. I'm counting on him. But we got microphones too, folks. Yeah, so what's surprising? The pressure. What's surprising about it? You get the point, right? Is that this nail polish denotes status, right? And you would think that something denotes status would have to be noticeable, right? If I drive a Rolls Royce and I roll up to my apartment in the Rolls Royce, the whole neighborhood is going to say, "Oh my God, there's an extremely expensive car, right?" I mean, Rolls Royce, I don't even know if they have status anymore, but there's an extremely expensive car out, a Tesla. Even that's not, even that's not. If I wear a big, thick watch made of gold, right? Clearly that denotes status in some sense. Like, look, I can pay a ridiculous amount of money for this watch, right? This is not what ballet slippers are. And as Halkut's talking about it, it's not particularly expensive material. It's not a very noticeable shade. Yeah. So why does it have status? It's not even very expensive. It's $7.99. Buddy? Yeah, if we go to the next page, I think she tries to make it a little clearer. Or maybe it's the next page. The choice of what color to paint one's nails is but one quotidian, that means every day, example of what the French sociologist Pierre Bourdieu would have called objectified cultural capital. Yeah, actually, Jacob, I want you to finish typing because what you said in your comment on Ice Age really nailed the point I'm trying to make about inconspicuous consumption. In his landmark book, Distinction, Bourdieu argues that one's taste was less about the specific paintings on a wall or the car one drove, and more about the cultural capital accrued through knowledge, social networks, and education that was indicated by those items. Right? Cultural capital, where is that? I lost it. Bourdieu argues that one's taste was less about the specific paintings on the wall or the car one drove, and more about the cultural capital accrued through knowledge, social networks, and education that was indicated by those items. And what I think she's getting at is that she's following a French sociologist, Bourdieu, with the idea is that your status is not dependent on your ability to acquire expensive things, right? Is that your status is not attendant or dependent on like your ability to have a huge expensive watch on your wrist. That doesn't, being able to spend a lot of money actually doesn't necessarily equal social capital. Jacob, it is valued beyond its physical and aesthetic qualities. An intrinsic value by persons in the know has been placed on it. Yeah, and the key thing is persons in the know. That is exactly precisely her point. Persons in the know have given it value, right? Everybody knows an expensive watch is expensive, so actually it doesn't have a lot of social status. It's too obvious. What you need for social status is that secret knowledge by people in the know, giving it worth no matter the price, used by individuals with a wealth of cultural capital. Yeah, Jacob, that is exactly her point, is that what gives social status is knowing what to buy, and it might not even be expensive. So the really ostentatiously expensive watch, maybe that's actually a demerit on your social status because you're being too obvious. You didn't know the right watch to buy, which was thin and gorgeous and possibly equally expensive, but not nearly as, but possibly not that expensive and not nearly as obvious, right? Javier. I selected the cultural capital line as my quote. I thought it was central argument of the piece. Yeah. So can you talk about it? For you, because you did the when you did the reaction piece, right? What is she getting at with this idea of cultural capital? Because yeah, I think this passage in particular, when you're looking at how we're going to actually come back to the bit I boxed off in red here on the essay in the future, because I think this is where she really starts nailing it down. Yeah, particularly this little bit in the middle. Thus, social class is not produced through consumption. You can't buy your way automatically into the upper class, but rather it is obtained through the adoption of values and aesthetics and the ability to decipher symbols and signs beyond materialism. These values, aesthetics, and taste form the habitus of everyday life, the ways in which we view the world and make normative judgments from our particular vantage point. And down a little bit. Thus, pale pink nail polish is the physical embodiment of the trappings of a particular social and economic class. The women know how to paint their nails with ballet slippers as a commodified signifier of the cultural capital and habitus they glean from living an Upper East Side life. Yeah, and there's a lot of big words in there, and she's working on two philosophers really. She's working on Bourdieu and Max Weber. So some of that vocabulary comes from a history of philosophy. But I think also, honestly, I think this really does just kind of ring true to how we relate to things. It's not enough to have an extremely expensive item if you don't have the right item. And social status isn't necessarily tons of money in the contemporary world. It has everything to do with who you know and who you relate to and who you can show evidence that you're talking to them. Yeah, other comments on this passage or Hallcut in general? Yeah, I'm just fishing. Any other thoughts about this? Microphones, guys. Microphones. I'm going to totally make everybody next meeting. I'm totally going to make everybody talk. And I know it's not required, so you can't run away because if you want, there'll be extra credit, there'll be tons of extra credit. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I felt that she was saying you can't buy your way between classes, and this is exactly right. Even when you think, I mean, the touchy one is Trump, because Donald Trump obviously portrays himself as a wealthy person, but within New York, he was always kind of sneered at because he is seen as sort of a intruder into the upper classes. Um, and it is because people accused him of having bad taste. Um, sorry, Javier. Yeah, I felt like she was saying you can't buy your way between classes. Money isn't the sole determining factor when it comes to social status. You have to recognize the value of little things. If you are in the aspirational class, right, the class who sees themselves as having status, you send your kids to better schools, make more commodities available to them and the right ones, and instill in them the values that will push you into upper class, right? And that value is mainly taste. According to Bourdieu and to Hauke, it's about taste, right? That you know the right kind of nail polish, and that denotes and gives you social status. Javier, for example, a college degree is worth way more than its monetary value, and it opens. And this is so damn true. It opens the door to so many opportunities, and it's not just because of what's on the paper. It's the way a college graduate talks, their ability to converse on various subjects, that they have an opinion on, the World Economic Bank, right? They share a realm of knowledge and understanding that comes from being an educated person, which is social status. Yeah, that's exactly Javier. That is exactly, and that is exactly her point. Social status is not a function of money, a function of knowledge and connections that you make obvious through objects that you buy, wear, consume. Right? Ballet slippers, $7.99, but the queen wears it. So it's not about the money; it's about who you're linked to with what connections these objects creates for you. Yeah. So please finish typing it. I think Javier is typing someone else. So keep going, and I'll come back to your comment. So just a couple things about the writing assignments. In particular, I know about. So Javier, I was about to use that for my next example. I went to Fordham Prep in the Bronx, and when I debate amongst friends, they sometimes get fascinated by the words and phrases I choose. Right? It's the words and phrases, your ability to manipulate the language, your ability to manipulate subjects that denote social status, right? And I mean, I have a very personal example here, right? Is that my wife works for a nonprofit. She's in finances in the nonprofit, so it's not. She doesn't make a lot of money. I mean, she does pretty well, but she doesn't make a lot of money. But she's constantly going to board members and things with people from Goldman Sachs and what's I don't know. But so she has to deal with these people as equals. And what gives her sort of social status is she's in this arts nonprofit. So she's linked to these conversations, these threads of knowledge about art, about dance, about theater, which money can't buy, right? Which the only thing that links you to these high status conversations is association, is conversation, is knowledge, is education. And so she carries a social status I mean, we don't get invited to the parties, but like she carries a social status much above her weight that her income would guarantee her because of the kind of the phrases and because of the kind of vocabulary and the kind of knowledge she brings to a discussion, which is seen as having this high social status, although nobody really makes money out of dance. Or not that many people, right? Yeah, so Javier, that's exactly right. Is that sense is that a lot of the value of a college education is the entree into the vocabulary, the rings of knowledge, the ways of speaking, which connote status regardless of your money. Okay. Okay, so I want to stop here. I did want to just very quickly look at the yeah. Ice Age very quickly. Partly because I want to remind you that we do need you do need to deal with it, right? Is that there's on the Canvas there's a discussion. There's a discussion. I lost my train of thought. On Canvas, there's a discussion thing on Ice Age, and some of you guys have already done it, and you did great jobs. So make sure you go there and think about what's going on with this, and particularly this little squirrel. Here we go. You can see this, right? Please tell me you can see this. Tell me. Somebody just scream that you can see this.
I can't see it.
You can't see it. Damn it.
I can't see it.
You can or can't, Jacob? Yes, no.
Cannot.
All right. Yeah, that's what I was afraid of. I was trying to project it doesn't matter that much. I was trying to project the Ice Age thing with the squirrel and the nut and the running around. And it's on Canvas, so go take a look at that. The comments on that are really good, and the question is how then to take that image and link it back to Hawkett's argument, or just think of what's going on in there. And there were two. There was Jacob did one, and Kit did one. And Kit was talking about that sorry, if I had a little more time, I'd read it. But Kit was talking about how that lust for the acorn is linked to those who are poor, and this desire for social status, sort of grabbing at it, right? And I think Jacob was talking about. No, I can't forget, but you were talking about how actually it's not enough. I think maybe we'll go there. Yeah, Jacob wrote, Scrat attempting to bury his acorn represents individuals with a lack of cultural capital partaking in conspicuous consumption, right? Their intention being to heighten their social economic status. Unbeknownst to them, this does not accomplish the goal, right? So actually Scrat, that he's doing exactly what Hawkett's talking about. It's like he thinks this acorn is going to make him social, like give him social status, give him something, but actually it's never enough. It's always a failure. That you can keep grabbing, but you're not going to get, which is what happens to the poor squirrel. So look at that. Go do the discussion question. Do the threaded discussion. That is graded. And think about it. And this is going to come back when we talk about the paper topics for next week. So next week, the paper topics will be partially based on that, or at least one of the options will be on that Ice Age clip. And also thinking about like actually both of you guys really hit on the lesson 2, the short story that we're reading for next week. Both of your arguments about the clip really go right to what's happening in the lesson in that short story. So if you think, you can think about how that might relate. Okay. So I'm going to take about 5 more minutes. Let me just open up for questions. Were there any questions about what I said, about the course requirements, et cetera, et cetera? There's got to be a million. Anything? One thing I wanted to emphasize this, and I've said it a bunch of times, so maybe I'm getting boring, but is the writing projects. And let's just take a look. This is schedule writing assignments. So I did this little handout to kind of make, hopefully, clearer how the structure of the formal essay is, right? So if you think in terms of, there's 2 major streams of writing here. There's the analytical essays. There's 3 analytical essays. And then there's another project, the Brownian analysis. So this is important, I think, because there's due dates all over the syllabus. I want to keep those things in mind. Right now, we're going to talk about the Brownian analysis next week, and it is particularly, the analytical essays are thesis driven. You come up with an argument, you defend that argument. That argument is about the texts. You defend that argument with evidence from the texts, and you have a conclusion and prove a point. And this is, as I said, bread and butter college essay. Write an analytical essay about Freud. Write an analytical essay about Max Weber, the sociologist. And generally speaking, college professors assign this kind of persuasive essay. And it is at the heart of the course, right? We'll be writing 3 of them this semester. And as I said in that video on the syllabus, you think about it in really 3 stages. We'll assign the essay here in the second week, and then we'll work on it together to some extent. And then there's a first submission. I'll grade the first submission. I'll give it back to you here. And then you rewrite it for a second submission for second grade. And that second grade will take precedence over the first, right? So you effectively, for each of these analytical essays, you get 2 bites at the apple. You get a first submission, which gets marked, and then that grade disappears in the light of the second submission. Okay? So there's the analytical essays. I'm not going to talk much about the Brownie analysis right now because there's 2 minutes, but we'll talk about it next semester. But the intention is to think about the other ways of writing. Writing isn't only, in college and out otherwise, isn't only about proving a point. The Brownie analysis is really an attempt to make writing as a way to learn, so that you'll use writing as a way to really investigate an object, is to open up questions about a thing, a process that maybe you haven't thought about before, to see something to use writing to see something in a new and more interesting and more deeper analytic way. Okay? Any questions about this? It's very quick, but any questions about the writing assignments, about that structure of due dates, et cetera, et cetera? I really want to thank you guys for coming. Like, actually, I mean, I feel like I want to make you use your microphones and video cameras, but on the other hand, I'm so glad you're here that maybe it's better just to let you be more comfortable. So actually, maybe I'll take that back. I'm not going to make you do video cameras and things like that because I'd rather you come. And that you guys' input was excellent. Thank you so much. All of you got Javier and Kit and Jacob and Maple. Thank you guys.
Is
Mabel.
because for me, I'm not English is not my home language, and for me, I can speak in microphones because typing for me is difficult. Speaking is difficult too, but speaking is more like available. But like our classes and the literature that read, I just read, and it's quite difficult for me. So maybe I need more time to know what is saying, so I cannot give my response like immediately. So I cannot use my microphone to. I really want to, but I cannot like answer immediately because it's quite difficult for me.
I completely understand, and thank you for saying that, because I think I suspect a lot of people are feeling this way. I mean, one way is remember that this conversation is conversation, so it is legit to say, I just don't get that. What are you talking about? Or can you say that again? All of that's legit. And please, there's I thank you so much for talking, and thank you for pointing that out. Absolutely, I understand. The other one is that, and maybe this is it. Maybe this is why the no webcams is the best idea. Is that also if you're comfortable just sitting back and watching and listening, that's fine too. You don't have to talk. Yeah, I mean, like, it's a long conversation, so we should probably stop. But most important thing is your presence here is super helpful to me. Otherwise, I'm talking to nobody, and that's weird.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah. so yeah.
For me, yeah. I'm not like I didn't understand that or I need to ask for again. But for me, because it's not my home language, so I need to read like more slowly. But if I read slowly, I can understand it slowly. But and I will understand it by myself, and I won't give response that quick. So yeah. So if I have questions, I'll ask you in microphone. Definitely.
Yeah. Also, this is a really crucial point, right? Is that the reading reaction papers are exactly about helping that process of coming to understand the reading. So if you look at those reaction papers, and there's one on Haukat this week, and there's one on Bambara next week, the objective of those is not that you have thought your way through the reading and you understand it perfectly. It's to exactly help that process that Mabel's talking about, where you find something in there and you work on it. You think, wait, this seems important to me, and then you can use the writing process as the work to come to better understand that. So that's really crucial, right? Is that, second language or not, a text can be difficult to understand. So you using the reading reaction papers as a way of precisely enabling that process of slowly coming to a better understanding of text. Yeah, thank you, Mabel. That's really important. Okay, so I ran a little bit over time. So we'll look at the where in the world next week. And I'm going to email you out tomorrow about the meeting for next week. So yeah, like I said, Wednesday I'm not sure about anymore. My schedule's kind of gotten a little weirder. So if you can do another survey, and I'll send this out email, this one I just put up on the public chat, it'll help me, and we'll figure out the best time. But I'm over, and I apologize for that. So let me let you go. I'll hang out. If anyone wants to talk, has any other questions, you can hang out and we'll talk in video chat. But otherwise, let me let you guys go. And thank you so much for coming. There was a great discussion, really fun. And I hope the whole class is going to be super fun for you, because I know it's going to be fun for me. So yeah, I'll let you go, and I'll see you next week. And on Canvas, don't do those assignments. Do the assignments. Do the Canvas assignments. Okay, so bye. Like I said, I'll hang out if you have questions.
Oh, excuse me, I want to ask a question before leaving.
Of course, Mabel, please.
So maybe I didn't hear it. I want to know when will we decide the time for weekly classes?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. What I was saying is that actually everybody wanted Wednesday, and I was really baffled by that. I was actually very surprised. But then what people were saying is that because of the some of the scheduling conflicts, the thing is Wednesday now actually is looking kind of bad for me, and I might be able to figure it out. But so I put another poll to see if Thursday is a possibility. Yeah. So your question was when? By tomorrow.
Okay.
Tomorrow, I'll be able to make a determination on that. Which Wednesday was bad for you? Oh, sorry, Tuesday was
No,
bad for you?
yeah, Tuesday is best
Tuesday's
for
bad.
me.
How about
Yeah, but
Thursday?
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday is fine for me.
Wednesday, Thursday, Friday are fine. Okay. Yeah. So
Yeah,
we
yeah.
might end up switching to Thursday. I'm going to check and see if I can change my Wednesday schedule, because actually people seemed okay on it. But yeah,
Okay.
so Tuesday's no good, huh? Yeah. Thank you, Mabel.
Nothing.
Anybody else? Questions?
Hi, can you hear me? Hi, can you hear me?
A little bit. You're a little bit breaking up.
Okay. So my question is, while I was reading the text, I had some trouble arriving at the main point the author was trying to convey. So I was wondering whether is it possible to get the wrong idea of the context of the passage and analyze the code wrongly?
Well, I'm a little surprised, because I actually thought you did a comment. No, I'm not sure. Look specifically at the passage, the second passage that we looked at. Let me look for it. That, I think, it's a really good question. Like, where, in other words, what's the heart of the heart of the argument? So let's go back to that reading. And
So I find it,
go ahead.
Yeah, I find it really difficult when trying for a long passage. I mean, this is not very long, but for a passage like this to get the main idea, where there's actually a lot of little other ideas that's throughout the passage. So, yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of ideas, and I think like I mean, she's got several. The one that we're most going to zero in on is this idea of that we focused on today, is inconspicuous consumption. And actually, the paper topic is going to zero in on right on this quotation here, I think. Thus, social class is not produced through consumption, but rather it is attained through the adoption of values and aesthetics and the ability to decipher symbols and signs beyond materialism. So if you really think about what you like, you know, for efficiency's sake, where you want to go with this essay to narrow down and get it, I think this is really the idea that I want to pull out of there. I mean, she's got other points too, but this one I think is the key. I think actually in the whole book, this is the key. But so you know, to really zero in on the heart of it, I think, is this passage, and we'll come back to this passage specifically when we do the paper topic.
Is there like any technique to find this this idea?
That's a great question. Is there any technique to find the main idea?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a great question. I mean, to some extent, it's more important to find the ideas that make sense for you. Like, I think, especially in a difficult text, it can be overwhelming to sort of be like, what's the biggest thing or what's the most important thing? In some sense, the better question is, what's the thing that makes the most sense, right? If you can find something in it that for you clicks, that for you makes sense, and then start working out from there, then you've got some place to begin. I find particularly with difficult texts, what readers tend to do is they tend to think, I don't understand this. And they'll look actually at the thing they understand least and spend most of their time on what they don't understand, as opposed to finding something you do understand, which might be a detail. It might not be the most important thing, but you get it, right? And then starting from there. So you find the part that you do understand and you think about that. And then maybe you can use that as a stepping stone to other ideas that you have more difficulty with. So as a technique, it's a great question. I would say find the bit that you do get and find a bit that seems to you important, whether it is the most important thing or not. Who knows? Right?
Okay.
Does that help?
Yeah, it helps a lot. Thank you.
Yeah, so I think like with this is a good point. Is so like with the reading for the lesson, for instance, next week, find something in there that seems important and resonant, and focus on that. And this is with the reading reaction paper, you know, that maybe that's you find something in there, whether the whole story makes sense or not. You find something in there that clicks, and then focus on that. Make sense?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a great question, and actually, we should come back to it with the whole in the lecture in general. Oh, I'm still taping actually. Now I look at it. Yeah, thank you, Kit.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else? Anybody? Other questions?
Hi, dear professor.
Help me with your name, Lingzi.
Yes, Lingzi. And I want to know how to use the 2E textbook.
Oh, yeah. So you haven't been able to get the textbook yet?
I have the textbook.
Oh, you have it. Okay, excellent.
And how to use it?
Okay, so there's two of them, right?
Yes.
The hacker is so with the hacker. Let me get the syllabus out. First place with the hacker, hold on to it. Because actually it's quite important this semester, but it's even more important if you do writing context 2. The hacker is really crucial. And if you look at the way the syllabus is, so on each week, there's little bits, there's specific references to hacker, right? So page 450 to 454 and 458 to 461, right? This is stuff that is important for supporting what we're doing that week. And actually, this is particularly important because we didn't get to it. Hopefully, I'm going to get to that in the assignment. But so if you just keep an eye each week on these little bits, it'll really, really help you. And you don't have to, there's no quizzes on the hacker. But if you just like, you know, flip that open to 450, look over those bits. This deals directly with quotations, and the reading reaction assignments ask you to quote. So you can just immediately start applying what's in the hacker to what we're doing. And likewise, this next week 2, why cite sources, the works cited page and text citation. There's more hacker pages. If you just keep looking at those pages as we go, it'll really help. See?
So we read the textbook?
Yeah, specifically, and the hacker there's a lot in there. So use the syllabus to help you narrow in on the things that are important.
Okay,
right?
thank you.
And the anthology is just just anthology. So the anthology anywhere in the syllabus where it just gives page numbers, then that's the anthology. So this one, Tony K. Bombard, the lesson 304 to 310. So that reading is from the anthology. If it's a handout, then I put in a handout next to it. Okay? Does that help?
Professor, I have another question.
Okay, yeah, go ahead.
Is there a format for writing a reaction piece, like introduction, then analysis, and conclusion, that sort of thing?
Such a good question. Yeah, no,
Because when I
there's
was
not.
writing mine, I was just writing without any format.
Yeah, that's
I was just writing whatever came to mind.
question. Yeah, actually, I wish you'd asked that during class because it's super important too. I might even put that in email. No, there is not. There's no format. There's a requirement that you use a quotation, and there's a requirement that you deal with a quotation, what it means, and there's a requirement you think about. There's of the 5 points, 2 of them are, one of them is quoting, 2 of them are talking about what the quotation means, and then maybe 1 or 2 are relating the quotation to bigger themes. But there's no introduction, that's not necessary. Conclusion is not necessary. Grammar doesn't count, right? It's just your analysis.
Would it be the same for all reaction pieces?
Sorry, say again?
Would that apply for all reaction pieces, or just for this?
All the reaction pieces exactly the same. The reaction pieces, it's the idea is writing to learn. So the idea is using writing not as a way to communicate to a professor, right? Using writing as a way to open up the text for yourself, right? And so because of that, you don't have to package things neatly for someone else. You really are using the writing process to open up the ideas for yourself. So I need the quotation because they're important, but other than that, yeah, the format, and there's no right or wrong answer. Like none of that is important, and grammar does not count because you're not writing it it's not polished writing. It's writing to think. A really good question, Kit. Really, really important question. I have to remember to talk about this in some way where everybody hears, because it's really key. Yeah, and no requirements for format. Anybody? Any other questions? Great questions. Really great questions.
Before leaving, I want to ask a question about our textbook, and because I haven't ordered and I didn't get my textbook, so I want to ask because if I order like now and it will mail to my country and it will take about almost 2 weeks or a month, but we will use our textbook maybe just like next week, and it's very necessary. So if we cannot get our textbook immediately, and how could we join the class?
Email me now. It's really important that you don't fall behind on the reading. So absolutely, email me now, and I'll email you scans of the pages.
Ah, okay, thank you.
All right, so that's for everybody. If you're unable to get the textbook right now, then do order it because you're going to need it. But email me right now, and to keep you up, I'll send you scans of the pages so that you can stay up with the reading for the first few weeks.
Okay. I'll do it.
Super important. Thank you. But do email me because otherwise I'm going to forget.
Okay.
So send me an email specifically. Say, I don't have the textbook. I need it. Do you mind? And no problem. I'll send you back the reading for the first couple weeks.
Okay.
I think I can do hacker too, actually. So yeah, both.
Okay. Great, thanks.
Yeah, I actually have the full PDF ebook. If you want, I can email it to you. Like Mabel.
I'm sorry. Can you say it again, Kit?
I was saying that I had a full PDF ebook if Mabel wants it.
Don't say that out loud. Yeah. I'm not going to say that because the copyright police will come and get me. But you could tell. You could tell other. Yeah, I don't care. You could tell your classmates that. If you want to. I'm not. To me, the only thing is it's really crucial people have the book. So, anyone else questions? These are great questions. Anything else about the course, about the material? Good. All right, please, if you've got anything else, let me know. With the syllabus questions in particular, if you put it in discussion, that's particularly useful because then everybody can see. But if you have individual questions, please just let me know, and